What's going on, gamers? It's a new game, Operation Wishbone. It's the first turn. This game I'm going to be playing the Commonwealth, French, and Soviets. You can see in pink there we have the Spoils of War card that have been drawn for this game. Let's dive into the Commonwealth turn. Their buy is going to be an artillery, tank, and a destroyer, saving 1 IPC. None of the Commonwealth, French, or Russians have any combats this turn, so we will skip the rolling. But diving right into the non-combat moves, I will take my transport in C-Zone P59, and I will take it 1 to P57, 2 to P58, picking up the infantry in the Northern Territory, and then claiming Dutch Java for the Commonwealth. So let me grab a little control marker real quick. Dutch Java now belongs to the Commonwealth, and the Commonwealth are now on 21 on the tracker. Other non-combats. The fighter in Queensland, I'm going to take, because of the airbase, 1 to P57, 2 to P58, 3 to P51, 4 to P48, and then land in Malaya. The other 2 fighters in New Zealand, I'm going to move to New South Wales. Additionally, the 2 infantry and artillery in Queensland, I'm going to move down to New South Wales. The cruiser is going to move to P59, and I think I'm going to move the destroyer to P51 as well. Infantry in India stays there. The infantry and the artillery in South Africa, I'm going to rail 1, 2, 3. Do I rail to Tanganyika or French Equatorial Africa? I think I'm going to get aggressive here. I'm going to put it in Tanganyika. Infantry, tank, artillery. I'm going to move the tank 2 moves, or 1 move to Western Canada over here. And then the infantry in Western Canada, I'm going to move to Alaska. 2 infantry in Scotland, I'm going to move down to London. And that should be all the Commonwealth non-combat turns. So I will place my units. The destroyer will go into P59. The tank and the artillery will go into South Africa. Oh, of course, I forgot the destroyer in A50. I'm going to move that 1, 2, 3 to A44. That's going to be the Commonwealth turns. Like I said, they're on 21 on the tracker. They get a 3 IPC bonus for the Axis not controlling any of this. So they're going to collect 24 plus the one they saved will be 25 to spend next turn. Disposition of units. Alaska, I have an infantry. Western Canada, I have a tank. New Zealand, I have 1 infantry. C-Zone P59, I have a destroyer and a cruiser. New South Wales, I have 4 infantry and artillery, 2 anti-aircraft guns, and 2 fighters. C-Zone P51, I have a destroyer and a transport. Java, I have an infantry. Malaya, I have an infantry and a fighter. India, I have an infantry. Tanganyika, I have an infantry and artillery. South Africa, I have a tank and an artillery. London, I have 2 infantry. And then Eastern Canada, I have 2 infantry and an artillery. So that's what they got. Now it is the French turn. No combats for them. I will be moving 2 infantry from Algeria over here to Morocco. The infantry in French West Africa will move into French Equatorial Africa. The infantry in Lebanon, Syria will stay there. The infantry in French Indochina will move up to North Indochina. And that's going to be all their moves. So like I said, North Indochina has an infantry. Lebanon, Syria has an infantry. French Equatorial has 2 infantry. Morocco has 3 infantry. Normandy, Bordeaux has 2 infantry and an artillery. And London has a fighter. That's the French turn. Let's move on to the Soviets. They had 41 to spend. Firstly, they're spending 4 on technology and then 2 to move a factory. Then the remainder of their buy is going to be 6 infantry, a transport, and a fighter. They have no combats as well. What I will be doing, firstly, I will be moving the 2 infantry in Bessarabia. I'm going to move 1 to Western Ukraine and 1 to Ukraine. I will be moving from the Caucasus. Oh, wait, that's not right. That's not right. Just 1 to Ukraine. The other one's going to stay in Bessarabia. Then in the Caucasus, I'm going to move the mech 1-2 to Ukraine, and then an infantry up to Rostov, leaving one infantry left in the Caucasus. The mech is going to, in Stalingrad, I'm going to move it with the tank to Bryansk. The infantry in Stalingrad, I'm going to rail 1, 2, 3 to Western Ukraine. Eastern Poland, I'm going to keep one in there and then move the other one back to Belarus. Then the 2 infantry in Lithuania, I'm going to, or that's 3 infantry. I'm going to move 1 into Estonia, Latvia, and then 2 into Belarus. Viborg, I'm going to move the 3 infantry into Leningrad, and then 1 infantry from Karelia into Leningrad. From Moscow, let's see, I'm going to put 1 infantry on the Eastern Rail and take it to Buryatia. I'm then going to rail 2 infantry and 2 artillery, 1, 2, 3 to Tunguska. Then the tank and mech in Moscow, I'm going to rail, or not rail, just move 1, 2 to Bryansk. The 2 anti-aircraft guns in Moscow, I'm going to rail 1 to Belarus, and then the other I'm going to rail to Ukraine. Let me get a proper anti-aircraft gun. Where's the box? Oh, nope, that's Italian. This is the box. So anti-aircraft gun in Ukraine. I need to chip up this Caucasus infantry and the Tunguska infantry as well. Okay. Other non-combats, I think. The submarine in A7, I'm going to move to A5. And then over here on the Asian front, I'm going to move my 2 cavalry from Ogli, whatever this is. I'm going to move it to Yakut. And it's going to stand. Thank you. My 2 infantry from Dzavan, I'm also going to move to Yakut. And these 2 infantry from Dornat, I'm going to move to Yakut. The 6 infantry and the 2 anti-aircraft guns are going to move back to Buryatia. Let's see, this fighter and this tactical bomber, I'm going to move to... I'm going to move it to Leningrad. So I'm going to put my pieces down then and give a disposition. One other thing, I paid 2 to move my factory. I'm going to move the Ukrainian one to Rostov now. Okay, now I'm going to place units. So miners IPCs produce at 4. I'm not sure since I move it whether I can deploy 2 or whether I can deploy 3. You'll have to let me know on that if I made a mistake here. But I'm planning on being able to place 3. So I'm going to place in Rostov the moved factory 2 infantry and then the transport into the Black Sea. Then the 3 infantry and a fighter I'm going to move into Leningrad. 1, 2, 3, and we'll have to chip this up later. I think I've been zooming in too much. I think I've been used to having to do a wide angle because my camera's been broken. I think I'm zooming in too much and hopefully not giving you guys a seizure or a headache or anything like that. I'm done now. The last infantry is going to go into Moscow. So my disposition as it stands. Oh, by the way, if I can't place 3 in Rostov, then I'll move one of the infantry that I placed there and I'll put it in Moscow. So as it stands right now, Karelia has an infantry, C-Zone A5 has a sub, C-Zone A15 has a sub, a cruiser, and a transport. Leningrad has 6, 10, 13 infantry, 1 artillery, 3 fighters, and a tactical bomber, and then 2 anti-aircraft guns. Estonia, Latvia has an infantry. Belarus has 5. Is that right? 6 infantry and an anti-aircraft gun. Eastern Poland has an infantry. Bessarabia has an infantry. Western Ukraine has 3 infantry and an artillery. Ukraine has 4 infantry and a mech and an anti-aircraft gun. Bryansk has 2 mechs and 2 tanks. Rostov has 3 infantry. Caucasus has 1 infantry. Moscow has 1 infantry. Chernigorsk has 2 infantry, 2 artillery. Yakut has 5, 7, 9 infantry and 2 cavalry. Buryatia has 6, 7, 12 infantry and 2 anti-aircraft guns. And the Black Sea has a cruiser destroyer and a transport. So Russia picks up 1 from Zavan and they lost Siberia and Amur, so that's going to put them at 39 on tracker with no bonuses. And that'll be the turn.